I am not a dog person. This hasn't always been the case, though. As a matter of fact, I used to love them. I grew up telling everyone that I would be a veterinarian one day. That had been the case. I'd like you to think that I wouldn't be in that position I'm in now. I'm a nervous wreck. As long as I can remember, I suffered from constant paranoia. If you ask my parents, they tell you an entirely different story. According to them, I was calm, cool, and collected as a child. They say it wasn't until I was around 12 when a way I carried myself distractedly changed. I don't remember much back then. However, there was a particular scene from my childhood that I'll never be able to push out of my mind. Something or rather someone has shadowed me for the rest of my life. January 1st, 1994. Remember how I said I wasn't a dog person? Well, there's a reason for that. As I said, I told my parents that I wanted to be a veterinarian. They supported me. They wanted me to be successful. I take for granted how much they cared for me. They brought me books on animals, autonomy. They took me to zoos. They brought me up to various VHS of documentaries on animals. They even tried their best to raise me into the adult that I wanted to be. As an adult my parents would be proud of. My birthday was in November, and I was turning 12. My previous attempts of asking my parents for a pet had always ended on an eventful manner. They'd always say I wasn't old enough and that I wasn't prepared for the responsibility of looking after a breathing animal. I was set to prove them wrong. This year I was fucking 12. I had been reading up all those animal books, and this year I knew I was ready. Once again I told my parents that I wanted an animal this year. Their reaction was different this time. My father gave a single maybe. And with that, I knew I'd be getting it for my birthday this year. It was no surprise I woke up the day of my birthday to a small puppy licking my face. I was thrilled. There were my parents were standing in the bedroom door, smiling warmly. They wished me a happy birthday and gave me a speech on how I need to treat the dog the way I would do any living being. They provided me with dog food, bowls, and a leash. In that moment, I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. That dog was my best friend. The time I spent with my dog was great. I was the only child homeschooled and was never really able to have any interaction with people my age. Not that I have a problem with doing so. My dog, who I named it Theo, had steadily grown to bond over me over the course of a month. We bonded the way other kids would with his dog. We went on walks, played together, bathed him, fed him, and overall trying to raise him as best I could, as my parents had done for me. Needless to say, my parents were impressed, and their opinion of me soon changed. It was January 1st, the beginning of a new year, and a beginning new for me. I woke up around 10 a.m., late start for me. I never made it through my midnight on New Year's before, but I felt like absolute shit. I was greeted in the kitchen by my mother, who provided a delicious breakfast. My mom was cooking stuff as a legend, and as I sat there in the dining room, able to eat my breakfast, Theo greeted me from under the table and sat down at my feet. I slipped him a piece of bacon, and he was delighted. My breakfast was cut short when one of my chores was to get the mail every day. As soon as I heard a familiar sound of the mail truck, I shot up out of my chair. One of the animal documentaries taught me about Ivan Provo, one of his dogs. Funny how I didn't know about being conditioned to react a certain way as sound of that truck. I was still tired from last night. I fumbled down towards the door, wasn't paying any much attention, and as soon as I opened the door, Theo took off as fast as he could. I couldn't process what just happened. He's never done that to me before. I collected my thoughts and decided to go after him. I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack and ran outside, and as soon as I stepped out on my front porch, I froze. Theo hadn't gone far. He hadn't even met at the left of the front yard. The yard's exit was blocked by a man. That was the first time I saw him. The man then looked straight at me. He didn't even blink. I didn't even know what to do or how to feel. At first, I was grateful that he was only standing between Theo and the rest of the world. He said nothing. Theo was looked up at him, wagged his tail, and he panted. It was as if the man didn't notice the dog was even there. He just kept staring. I wanted to say something. I wanted to thank him. The way I was looking at him, the way if he was expecting me to say something. I couldn't bring myself up, though. without having his gaze, kneeled down and picked up Theo by the scruff of his neck. Theo whined and I wanted to tell him to put my dog down, but again, I couldn't. I simply couldn't think of any appropriate words. My mind was all a jumble. I couldn't move and I couldn't think straight. All I could do was watch. The man reached into his pocket, pulled out a knife and cut the dog's throat in one quick motion. Blood spilled onto the snow-covered ground, held the dog in the air for a few seconds, letting Theo's blood form a puddle beneath him. The man didn't just simply let go, and Theo fell with a slight crunch to the reddened snow. Then again, the man's gaze did not leave mine. He dropped the knife to the ground and merely walked away. It wasn't until he was completely out of sight when I could move again. I made my way over to Theo's garbling corpse and stood over him. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't shed a single tear. My mother emerged from the house, surely wondering why the mail was taking long. I don't blame her for screaming. When she saw me standing over the mangled corpse of Theo, knife on the ground, it didn't make a genius to put two and two together. The scene described itself. In the following months, my parents had forced me into seeing a psychiatrist. When they asked why I killed Theo, I tried to tell him that it wasn't me. I tried to tell him the best to them about the man, but I could tell he wasn't buying it. "All right," said the therapist in a smug tone. "Tell me what this man looked like." That's when I realized I couldn't describe him. It's not that I didn't remember his face. It's just he was so generic, and I wouldn't be able to describe him without describing millions of other people in the world. His face was so forgettable. I know I stared at the man for a good 5 minutes, but one would assume that I would be able to remember the face of the man who killed my dog without breaking an eye contact with me. It was like I knew what he looked like. My brain but couldn't translate the appearance into his words. I didn't answer the therapist's question. I just simply slumped in my chair. Throughout my entire life, this man had popped in on multiple occasions. I may go further into detail in the future, but all I can say now is he definitely exists. I may seem crazy, but I know what I saw that day. I always see him, whether he's among a crowd while watching the news or in my dreams. He's real, and he's always watching. And that was, well, Have You Seen This Man? A Creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story? Well, the story was okay, but I do have a few issues with this story. Number one, the fact that this man was pretty much staring at this protagonist, and he didn't really do much but just stare at this man. Only the fact that there was a few drawings and like a bit of evidence of what he looked like. I mean, I've seen some of them on the wiki, and it's pretty messed up. But I mean, the fact that he was just staring at this guy, and it seems like he appeared to be some sort of, I don't know, evil spirit or something. Like, it honestly really kind of gets me a little bit, well, kind of confusing. But like I said, it's just the fact that, there was not really much about this man. But this man, honestly, was just staring at this protagonist, and he ends up killing, him or something like that. So, well, not killing him, but killing his dog, and I'm like, holy hell. I mean, that's pretty, I really didn't think that was really necessary. I mean, why was there any reason this man murdered a dog? Like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't explain why he murdered the dog. I mean, yeah, I think that part, the part where the man kills the dog was just there for shock. No doubt it would be the case, but like I said, I'm not really too sure about that. But like I said before, I'm not really too sure or about that. But like I said, I'm not going to really say much. But that's just for what it is. So anyway, I guess with that being the case and that being said, this is it's an okay story. I didn't really care for the story that much. I'm not a fan of it. I personally didn't really care for it that much, but yeah. Yeah, with that being the case and with that being said, this is honestly a pretty interesting concept. So I definitely got to really say it's still a pretty good story for what this is. So, yeah. Now, anyways, with that being said and that being the case, I mean, I just think it was just there for shock. So, I mean, no doubt it probably was there for shock. You know, the part that the guy kills the dog or something. I mean, it's most likely the case. So, yeah, like with that being said and that being the case, I'm just going to sit here and just say right now that this is just my own opinion though. But like I said, yeah, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. But like I said, this story, it's okay. I'm not a fan of it. I don't personally care for this story that much, if that makes sense. But like I said before, it's a pretty good story. Well, not really great story, but it's definitely not one of the best ones I've seen. But yeah, with that being said, I mean, yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a rough day. So yeah, my voice is kind of like that. I don't know what it is, but I kind of had a little bit of a rough day. The day I'm recording this, I kind of did have a rough day, but, you know. Oh boy. This story was not the best, but definitely not terrible. I mean, I just think the dog being killed in this story really didn't really need to be added. I think it was just there for shock. No doubt. So, anyways, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and say, the sentence structuring was good. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. The sentence structuring was pretty good for what it is. It's really interesting, and I honestly didn't really find this to be too bad. I mean, it could have been better, but hey, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, the part where the dog dies, I really feel that wasn't really necessary. So yeah, but with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and just say right now, this is my own opinion on this story. Now, I'm going to sit here and just say right now that I don't know who the author of the story is. So, yeah, I'm going to leave this as anonymous for now. If I find out who the original author is, I'll be sure to give him proper credit. But for now on, I can't really say it is the author or whatever, because who the author is, because it doesn't say. But yeah, to the author out there, let me know who you are so I can give you proper credit. Okay, I guess with that being said and that being the case, let me sit here and say right now, I give this one a 7 out of 10. It's an okay story, but I mean, it could have been better, but that's just how I feel with this story. But yeah, with that being said, what did you guys personally think? Did you like it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, feel free to leave a comment, like this video if you haven't, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'll be seeing you all next time. Peace out, and like always, please roll the outro because I'm out.